If you are not asking how to create fitness marketing videos better, faster, and more effective at supporting your ideal clients, you're nuts. If you already do it, already create videos, you can always do it better. I don't watch a single YouTube video without learning something, whether it's something to do or not to do. I am an eternal student. I've grown my YouTube channel to 118,000 almost entirely organically. And to be honest, I can say that on the two occasions that I did pay to play, it wasn't as effective as the right video performing organically because I've shared it and amplified it regularly after initially posting. So while what I'm about to share with you is gold, don't forget that step 5 is just as important. That is continuing to share your great videos consistently with slightly different words or images. I'm Deborah Atkins, and you're listening to the Voice for Fitness Professionals podcast, where I share almost always marketing and sales strategies that are easy, enjoyable, even fun, so that you can create a business and a life that you love without ever being sleazy, pushy, or salesy. And occasionally, I share information on how to train and coach your menopausal fitness clients better with hormone balancing exercise tips. And if both of those topics appeal to you, how to create better marketing easier without being sleazy and pushy and salesy, and you work with midlife women, I'm going to link to something I think you'll find is very interesting. If you love or you need this, especially if you work with midlife women, you'll love the 12-month Flipping 50 Fitness Specialist Mastermind. It's my 2.0. It's always been my mission to help the fitness industry by getting and keeping the heart-centered, skilled coach and trainer. I do that by giving you the skills not just to coach them on the fitness, but to market and to message in a way that you feel good about, and so do they. I'll link to a special masterclass that I'm doing on Thursday, sharing more about how you can become a true brand influencer. Not to star on social media, but so that you can influence the world's health. This 4-step plan to create fitness marketing videos is one of my earliest lead magnets when I first began coaching and consulting with fitness professionals as my primary niche more than a decade ago. Starting then, doing your video creation would have been a fantastic idea. And yet, starting today is the next best time. I'll give you more tips in some upcoming podcasts about being good on camera and getting more confident on camera. But many of these steps that you can start on will already begin improving your confidence to create fitness marketing videos. Let's dive in. And just a word of warning, you're going to want to take notes so that you're answering all of the questions that I'll ask in each step. I'd even suggest that you pause the podcast to answer the questions before you move on to the next, and we will be literally workshopping this together. Step 1 is define the objective. Why are you ever going to turn on the camera without knowing what you want the end result to be? So often that is thinking about not only who it's for, but thinking about what you want a viewer to feel, to think, or to do once they've watched it or while they're watching it. So some potential ideas. Number 1, you may want to create a video because you want to attract new customers. Number 2 might be you want to nurture your relationship with your current customers. Number 3, you might want to upsell current customers, but I will tell you that probably you're not going to randomly do this in a public YouTube video. It might be a part of videos you create, but potentially not open to the public. The fourth reason you'd create a video would be creating a product for revenue. So it might be that this video is a part of a course, or this video is a part of your overall personal training package, or an online membership or members area product that your personal training clients or members get access to. All great reasons, but very different in the language and the way that you're going to approach that video. So think about it. You may decide, I want to do all of those, right? I get you, but choose one. So for our purpose, my illustration as we go through, I'm going to choose one of those right now. And you may want to do this and come back and repeat it again and again for each one of them. But here's what we're going to do is decide we're going to focus on attracting new customers. Step 2, once you know what the purpose of this video is, you've got to choose the topic. So just because I want to attract new customers, that can't be the topic of the video. You've got to dive into a topic that is meaningful and important. And if not, emotional for the customer that you want to attract. Questions that you need to answer. And this is where you're going to pull out your pen and pencil or decide to pause the podcast to answer each one. Question 1 is, what problem are you solving with the product or the service that you're offering? What problem are you solving? And if you haven't ever thought of it that way, it's important that you start. And here's why. Most of us will reach into our wallets or billfolds or grab that credit card because we want something fixed. We want something transformed. We have too much weight we're carrying around and we want someone to help us get it off. We need clothes to make an impression. So we're going to go shopping and pay for something that will give a better first impression for a first date or a job interview. So you get the idea. What problem is it that you solve? And again, I'll come back to these questions we're going to have to fill in the blanks for our example. Okay. So second question is, what other things has a customer tried? Before they got here to find your video, what else have they already tried? What do you think the answer to that is? And if you're just beginning, this may be a little bit harder for you to answer. But then again, so many of us begin to coach or be trainers because we've been in the situation and you are somewhat your own ideal customer. So if you can fall back on how you felt, what else did you try before you actually stumbled across the thing that really worked in the end? Do a large percent of people in your market have this problem? So are the people who you're targeting with your product or service have the same problem? You don't want to pick something that only a very few have. Pick something that a lot of them, most of them have. Who's your competition? And when you answer that question, the next question is easy. As a side, how do you solve this problem distinctly different or better than your competition does? Why would someone choose you over them? Okay, so let's back up and go back to the top, knowing that the reason we're turning on the camera is because we want to attract more customers. What problem are we solving? Let's say we're solving weight loss, right? One of the number one reasons someone would choose a health or a fitness coach, weight loss. And let's say that the other things that a customer has tried have been Jenny Craig and Weight Watchers or Nutrisystems. They've tried Noom and apps, and calorie counting, all of those things. And let's say that you specialize in weight loss. So, yes, the majority of people walking in do have that problem. All of those things I just mentioned are, in fact, your competition, as are the junk food aisle at the grocery store, the oversized buttered popcorn, if we ever go back to movie theaters again, all of those. But how do you solve this problem distinctly better than, say, your actual competition, like the apps and the diet centers of the world? Maybe you do it with no calorie counting. So, topic wise, you're going to kind of go with weight loss without calorie counting, without apps. Okay, got a good idea? If you don't, stop the podcast. Think about your topic, the goal of your video, and make sure you've got some good answers before we go further. Step 3 is finding a title, but you can't do that unless you've got those first 2 things down, knowing who you're talking to, your new client, and ideally you're going to know who that is, right? Is it a male or a female? Is she young or is she old? Okay, questions that you need to answer in order to choose a findable title. And another way would be to say that choose a searchable title. Because what's going to happen is, at 8 o'clock at night, when the dishes are done and put away, and it's quiet, and someone sits down with their laptop on their lap and opens it up, they type in a question to Google. What you want to know is, what is that question that your ideal client types in about their problem? How do I lose weight after a baby? How do I lose weight in menopause? How do I lose weight after 60? Is it too late to lose weight after 60? Think about what they would ask. What question would a person with this problem ask? Next question is, what problem does someone want solved who would like this video? So I'm asking you almost the same question, but I'm phrasing it in a different way. That alone should also give you some creative ways to express your title that you might want to play with. The next question is, describe the person who will find value in this video. So I hinted at that before. Is it a male? Is it a female? Is it somebody in her 20s or 30s or 40s or 50s or 60s? Because they're all going to respond and react slightly differently to different titles. What does this person who has this problem hate about your product? Now, if we were talking about weight loss and you're selling personal training, that's your product or your service, in other words, whether it's true or not, somebody you're targeting who may be, say, a female who's 60 has an idea about personal training that she hates. And there are parts of it that are faults, like having seen Biggest Loser and Jillian and barking sergeants who are intimidating in the gym and or who make you feel bad and judged because you did not comply with the exercise or you were not faithful with your food plan. Those may be things that you can list that someone hates, and that can be relevant to your title. Now, you've got answers to all those questions. Start with a few working titles. Just start putting some of those words down. So if you chose weight loss as your topic, that should be a word, definitely, that goes into your title. Don't imply it, literally say it. Make it easy for somebody to find you. And also, if you're targeting women, it might be a woman's guide to weight loss and da 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 da. Who is she? After 40? After a baby? Through running? Through walking? Does it have something to do with the way that you do it? Or is it about something she hates? A Woman's Guide to Weight Loss After 40 Without Calorie Counting. That just said a whole lot about who you are and about who you aren't. There will be some polarization. And that, my friends, is a good thing. Meaning, some people immediately who are calorie counting queens, even if they don't have good luck with it, will be turned off and they won't waste your time if that's something that you don't do. So start jotting down titles. And I will share this with you. Spend more time, like 80% more time on your title than you ever did in the content of your video. That's not to say don't make that content A+ value, but it is to say that you have to spend even more time on the title because it's the title, it's the subject line, it's the headline that gets your article or your podcast or your video read, listened to, or watched. And there is nothing more true than that. So if you end up creating a killer video content and you find that it's hardly getting any views, the problem may be the title. And you can go back in and change your title as many times as you want to. But if you are creating this, take the time to get a killer title that when you type that title in to Google, that you find a lot of searches will bring it up. And ideally, if you have a video thumbnail next to your title, when someone brings that up after they've searched, they're more likely to click on a title with a thumbnail or an image than they will just something that is to an article, like a blog post. So keep that in mind. YouTube is, after all, a search engine owned by Google. Okay, so keep running those titles through. I like to play with at least 20. Crazy, right? But those little modifications will be meaningful. So keep playing with them, keep entering them into Google, see what changes, see what you get. Compare the number of results that have videos or images in them. Run the title through one more time without any changes or with any changes that you make to a word or the order of the words, and then just decide. It doesn't have to be perfect. Get it pretty good and then put it out there. Okay. Step 4, create your intro and outro scripts. So easy to decipher that intro is introduction. And I'm going to call your attention to something. When I began this podcast, I did not start with, I'm Deborah Atkinson, and this is the Voice for Fitness Professionals podcast, because you don't care until you care that you landed at the right spot based on the title that I'm going to deliver to you the content that I promised. So I'm going to scroll back up to the top of my notes. Remember how I started? It's this. The title of the podcast is 4 Steps to Create Fitness Marketing Videos. The first line was, if you're not asking how to create fitness marketing videos better, faster, and more effective at supporting your ideal clients, you're nuts, right? And I went a couple paragraphs in my notes or a minute or two before I actually ever got to, I'm Deborah Atkinson, because you don't really care as long as you're getting great content. And the same is true here. So when you're creating videos, here's the truth. People have the attention span of about a guppy. That's about 7 seconds. You've got to grab their attention. Start giving them content right away. Pique their curiosity. Tell them exactly what it is that they came here for. And then pause a little bit. Tell me your name, what you're doing, what they're going to learn. And remember that you can always then close at the end. Now, realize this. The second part of what you're going to do is the outro. And that's where you have your call to action. In that first 10 seconds of the intro, write it out word for word, rehearse it. And I can tell you this, that I can tell you right now by heart my intro for the Flipping 50 podcast. And it is, I'm Deborah Atkinson, and you're listening to Flipping 50, where I address your top struggles and concerns. And I share what to eat, how to move, and how to think so you can get the energy and the vitality that you want, need, and deserve in this second and better half. I know that so well, I could do it in my sleep. And yet, that is not the beginning of every podcast. I start every podcast with a teaser, question or two, or shocking statistic or topic, because we've got to rip their attention out and disrupt whatever they might be doing, because we know they're doing three things. They probably clicked onto the podcast and they're scrolling through social media or looking at their email. You've got to get their attention. So make sure that you go right into the content and then go ahead, tell them your name, and then come back right away to the content. At the outro, your call to action based on your objective from the reason that you, in step one, determined that you're creating a video. We wanted to attract customers, so we need to give them a next step. So if we're attracting brand new people, they'd never seen us or heard us before, one next step might be subscribe to your YouTube channel. That, I know it's benign. It's not getting you a paid customer right away. But if you run up to somebody that you'd love a first date with and say, look, I'd like to have babies with you. I want you to come home with me for Christmas. That would be crazy, right? So you can't ask someone who's just seen a 5-minute video to buy a 20-session package. Even a 5-session package would be a little too much. So give them a baby step. If they want to do more, trust me, they can Google you and do more. But ask for just one very small thing, gain their trust and nurture them, and you will get more ultimately. So let me reiterate the step 4, creating your intro and your outro scripts so that you can type that right into your notes and rehearse over and over and over before you go live. And then you're not going to read it, and it may not be perfect, but it will be practiced and you'll feel comfortable because you know it. Those first 10 seconds, write them out word for word, and then you'll have a call to action in that outro. But I want to call your attention to something first. In the intro, it was a longer extended intro. I also gave you a premature call to action there too. I told you that if this particular content was something that you knew you needed, if not wanted, about video marketing, then my 10-month Flipping 50 Fitness Specialist program that includes branding, influencing, marketing strategies so that you can have the kind of business and life you love would be very of interest to you. And I even gave you that URL out loud. So now I'm going to call your attention to it again, because you're going to make sure you write and rehearse your close, summarize, and here's what I do. If you liked this, then I'd love to see you on Thursday when I'm doing that special masterclass about the Flipping 50 Fitness Specialist. And you can find that at flipping50, all words spelled out, .com/specialist masterclass. Masterclass is all one word. Save your spot. We're taking a limited number of people to start a brand new program enrolling right now, just until the end of December. And if you're ready, this is your time, because there's never been a better time to be working with women in menopause. And I'll explain 3 reasons why that's true and 3 mistakes people are making who are training women in menopause right now. There you have it. These 4 steps alone will increase the findability of your videos, even if you're creating them. If your ideal prospects can't find them, it's costing you time. Your next step to social media and bettering yours is to meet me at flipping50.com/specialist.or-masterclass. What are you waiting for? The world needs us right now more than ever.